If those get you popped for Ostarine, like, then we're all f***ed. If they're putting Ostarine, just like dipping it into a bunch of shit, like,
it's like it's a CIA MK Ultra experiment.
Wait, what do you mean?
okay, folks, let's get into this. And the first thing I want to talk about is Ostarine. SARMs, including SARM, which is another name for Ostarine, have been used by athletes to assist in training and increase physical stamina, fitness, potentially producing effects similar to anabolic steroids. For this reason, SARMs were banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency in 2008. Now, it says above that it was created by GTX Incorporated in 1997. So there was a window there, a decent-sized window, an 11-year window where people were using SARMs just free reign, and well, this SARM in particular. So that's interesting, just thinking about that stage and who could have potentially been on, an illicit substance that we now treat as though it's an androgen, the likes of, anabolic steroids. So big standout names they list here, and I'm glad they do, because we're going to end up talking about someone who was just popped for Ostarine. So in October 2018, fighter Sean O'Malley tested positive for SARM and was suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and USADA for 6 months. 6-month ban. I think that's pretty much the smallest ban you can get from USADA. On January 7th, 2019, the College National Football Championship was played between University of Alabama and Clemson. Prior to the College Football National Championship game, 3 Clemson players who were suspended, Dexter Lawrence, Braden Galloway, and Zach Gilal, tested positive for Ostarine. That was actually a pretty interesting one. Those were 3 starting, I believe, linemen. So they were just homies, just popping Ostarine and getting yoked. Oh, yeah, we got a cyclist here. Come on. Cyclists are the biggest dopers, besides weightlifters. What else do we got? 2021, July 6th, Brazil women's national volleyball team player, Tandara. I love how Brazil has some people with single names. August 12th, 2021, the 2020 Summer Olympics, Chijindu CJ Yuja, a member of the silver medal winning British 4x100 relay team, was temporarily suspended, testing positive for both Ostarine and S23. O'Malley tested positive again in 2019 and was suspended for 9 months by the same agencies. USADA determined that none of O'Malley's positive tests were consistent with intentional use. There's a couple other ones in here. Yes. Taylor Lewin failed a drug test for SARM, which Lewin claimed he ingested accidentally as an unlabeled ingredient in a supplement. So another, well-renowned weightlifter who doesn't compete anymore, his name's Sonny Webster. He's very prevalent on social media. He does coaching now, and he does crazy lifts. He also had the same claim. It was ingested on accident because it was an unlabeled ingredient in a supplement, which brings us to the main story today. Hoby Baker Award winner, which is the MVP of collegiate hockey, was actually a goalie this year, and his name is Dryden McKay. He accepted a 6-month sanction for an anti-doping violation, and this article right here, or this, information I'm getting, is from Everything College Hockey. So I think it's pretty rare that a Hoby Baker winner is a goalie. I think there's only been 3 other goalie Hoby Baker winners. But his story is pretty interesting, so I want to read it for you guys. I would like to officially respond to the press release regarding USADA's announcement of my 6-month sanction. In early January, the NHL made the decision not to send its players to the Olympics. Shortly after, Team USA announced their roster of college and other non-NHL players, but it was announced that a group of 4 players, including myself, were alternates. So they still ended up playing. This is very interesting. I don't know. From then on, we prepared as though I was going to Beijing, even though I knew I would only make the trip if another goalie tested positive for COVID or was injured. Part of this process included being drug tested by USADA and declaring all supplements on January 23rd. On February 1st, much to my surprise, I was notified that my urine sample was contaminated with minute levels, trillionths of a gram, of a substance that I had never heard of before called, drumroll please, Ostarine.
Wow.
So here we have another contaminated supplement situation, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. The level was explained to me by my attorney as so small it is comparable to a grain of salt in a swimming pool, therefore providing no performance-enhancing benefit to me whatsoever. The source was an all-natural, contaminated, non-NSF vitamin D3 immune booster that I consumed for less than 2 weeks because of advertised antiviral and immunity-boosting benefits. I know the source because I had all the supplements I was taking shipped to an independent lab immediately to find the source of contamination. The lab found Ostarine contaminants in my open bottle of the all-natural vitamin D3 immune booster I was taking. I declared all-natural vitamin immune booster during testing after I took it for 10 days, hoping to protect me from COVID amid the Omicron wave, as per the recommendation from a trainer to consume more vitamin D. Because I was able to establish the source of contamination, an independent sports arbitrator lifted my suspension on February 3rd, allowing me to compete until a final decision was made. The NCAA was fully aware of the situation, along with the full cooperation from Minnesota State Athletics, issued a separate decision which cleared me to play because my suspension was lifted. It is only because I was cleared by both an independent sports arbitrator and the NCAA that I was able to play out the rest of the season for Minnesota State. USADA has indicated I am unable to avoid a penalty because I, as an athlete, am responsible for what goes into my body. The all-natural vitamin D immunity booster, a non-approved NSF supplement, therefore I am dealing with the consequences. I have decided to put this case behind me and accept the 6-month sanction offered by USADA so that I will be able to play in October. So all in all, it's not that bad, right? 6-month suspension. He was able to finish out his season, miss out on being an alternate for the Olympics, but he's going to be able to play in the NHL in October. Hockey's a weird one. You get drafted at 18 and then you go and play collegiate career, and sometimes you can get pulled out of college and then placed into like their developmental league, or you can get pulled out of college and go straight to playing, or you can just skip college altogether like Sidney Crosby and just be a baller. You know, in this situation, he was able to play. USADA comes in and the Olympics are in question. Then he's unable to play. I wonder if he had just gone to the NHL, if any of that would have happened. He probably would not have been tested by USADA. Now, here's the thing. We can either believe what he says, because also the independent study on the supplement he was taking, the vitamin D, he had it shipped to a lab, or we can say, God, we've been here so many times before. How many women have claimed, things there was contaminated? I've covered this on this channel. This woman who said that she had a pork burrito, and it turned out that is why she tested positive for DECA. That seemed absurd at the time. Is it any more absurd or any less absurd than this? I would venture to say it's probably more absurd than this. 1/1,000,000th of a gram, if that is the case, then this is just really weird stuff. I mean, I was a collegiate athlete, and the crazy thing was I was never once tested in college. But I was so scared of the test that I didn't even smoke weed, and all I did was take pre-workout. And sometimes if you take you could take the old Jack 3D supplement and get busted for something. It's very, very strange. It's just it's weird to me that a piss test can detect 1/1,000,000th of a gram of Ostarine, and that. Let's just break this down for a second, because why is Ostarine always popping into supplements? We have to. Is it cheap? It's got to be cheap, right? Because why would supplement companies mess with something that's an expensive ingredient, right? It must be some sort of thing like it's hard to find, like, I don't know. I've heard that Anavar is very expensive. Like, I've heard that, like, good Anavar is, like, it's a very expensive drug. So what people will do is switch out certain androgens in place of Anavar to make their drugs cheaper. So is this the case with Ostarine? Is this the case where, we want, like, in a vitamin D3 supplement, why would any company put that in there? And furthermore, it's like, this just goes to show where USADA is at compared to the rest of the world. Does this sort of thing occur in other countries? Well, I would say that the UK tests pretty goddamn hard. We saw the example there on Wikipedia of the track athlete who was popped for Ostarine. Sonny Webster popped for Ostarine. But, man, 1 trillionth, it's just... Part of me is... There's the devil and the angel. Part of me is just like, you got to be an athlete. You have to be good at this sport to succeed. You can't just take drugs. So if you are a good athlete, if you do work hard and you do take drugs, why do we care that much? But at the same side of it, if you are a good athlete and you are good at this sport, you shouldn't need drugs to succeed. But, we always look at the case of certain Olympic sports like, cycling and even weightlifting, where if you do not take drugs, you're likely not going to succeed. It's different on the women's side of weightlifting. I think right now it's definitely more underdeveloped than the men's side. So natural athletes can succeed, and they have succeeded. But on the men's side, it's hard to say that an Olympic medal has ever been won by a natural athlete. And to think about a collegiate hockey goalie messing with androgens, like, yes, it will absolutely help them succeed. But if you look at the stress and recovery of a goalie, I'm just venturing to say that it's not going to be as much as a defenseman or a forward. Right? The need for muscle mass as well while you're building fitness. And that's the thing about a lot of these sports that I love to think about the use of androgens and why it would help. I work with MMA fighters, and I consistently see that sport, MMA or jiu-jitsu, as needing power with a baseline of incredibly high fitness. So when you need power, you need muscle mass. You need a driver behind that power. So when you're training fitness, it's really difficult to maintain that muscle. So that's why androgens would really, really help, because muscle retention while just training fitness, while just training specifically for your sport, is just miles above when you're on gear than when it's not. And this is why it's like that sport to me is the most noticeable. When you see a fighter in there and they just look jacked and they have the fitness to boot, that's when you begin to question. It's like, okay, well, that just doesn't look realistic, right? I really do think of certain sports in that manner. But in something like hockey, obviously androgens are going to help a goalie out. I believe they would help a chess player out. They have. I think there's chess players that take androgens, and I think that is definitely true. But the likelihood that this dude was purposefully taking Ostarine, I don't know how high that is. It's just, it sucks. We've had so many people cry wolf. So many instances of people cry wolf. Oh, I took a tainted supplement, and at this point, the only response anyone can make is you have to know exactly what you put in your body. But if it really is that, okay, I've got a vitamin D3 supplement. A lot of people I know just take those 2 little liquid gel vitamin D3 supplements in the morning. Okay, if those get you popped for Ostarine, then we're all f***ed. If they're putting Ostarine, just dipping it into a bunch of shit, how does that occur? The cross-contamination thing, the contaminated supplement thing is just so weird. You guys can obviously see my brain is scrambling around this. And I really want to know just what you have to say about it. I appreciate it. This video was just kind of all over the place, but 1 trillionth of a gram, it's weird, man.
It's like it's a CIA MK Ultra.
Anyways, I'll see you in the next video.
The company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.